Hello and welcome to my kitchen. I'm Judith, and this episode we are going to do a couple of different types of boiled egg. They're not going to end up as a standard boiled egg. The first one I want to show you is Chinese tea eggs. Now these, you could use chicken eggs. I don't. I think they're too big. I use quail eggs, which are gorgeous in themselves. And they're packed quite securely because they are little. So just place them in your pot gently. So we're going to do, let's see, what do we do? 6, 7, 9. I'm going to do a dozen. They come in 2 dozen packages, or packages of 2 dozen. So I'm just going to close that one back up and keep them in the fridge. Now they won't keep as long as chicken egg in the fridge because they will dry out. The shells are porous. But I like to decorate the top of my potato salad with them as well. Just boiled quail eggs. So then we're going to cover the eggs with cold water. Now, I'm assuming all of you know how to boil an egg. We do want them hard boiled. For an egg this size, it's only going to take 4 minutes. And then we'll be back with the seasoning for it. Alright, for your seasoning, we're going to use some black tea leaves. I have one from Silk Road that's called Jewel of India, and it is just a black tea. So you want about a tablespoon of tea leaves. You want a 2-inch cinnamon stick, 2 black cardamom pods, 2 star anise, 7 whole cloves, and 10 black peppercorns. Now we're going to fill that, well, not fill it, sorry, about a cup and a half of water. Then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. Now I use light soy sauce, but believe it or not, it's just as dark soy sauce, and that's pretty much what you want it for, that and the salt. But I don't use a lot of salt, so light soy sauce isn't quite as salty. Now we're going to bring this to a boil and let it cook for a few minutes because we want the tea flavor, all the flavors to infuse together. And then we're going to put our eggs in it. But we have one thing to do with the eggs before we put them in. Okay, once your eggs have cooled enough to handle, you're just going to take each egg and gently tap it with the back of a spoon all over. You just want to lightly crack the shells so our seasoning mixture can infuse into the egg itself. Now, tea eggs, although they're not everyone's cup of tea, can make quite an elegant appetizer or addition to a charcuterie board. Or, as I said before, you just pack them up in a container and take them on your picnic or in your lunch. And you can vary the seasonings to find something that you like. You don't have to use anything in particular, but you do want something that's strongly colored so that the eggs take on the color, because it will infuse through all the little cracks and you'll get a marbled appearance to the egg. And something most people don't know about quail eggs, the patterns on the eggs are specific to the female bird that laid them. There we go. All of our eggs are cracked sufficiently, and our seasoning mixture is boiling. So we are going to take our eggs, and I'm just going to put them back in the pot, and put them into the seasoning mixture. And there they will boil for a few minutes, and then we're going to turn the heat off. And don't worry about, we're not overboiling them. They're not going to look horrible inside. They are going to be beautiful. So we'll get those in the pot. And once they've been in the pot for a bit, there is another. Alright, once the eggs have been in the simmering tea mixture for 10 minutes, take them off the heat and leave them in the mixture and let them cool. Now you're going to want to let them steep for at least 8 hours. You can do this for up to 24 hours. You can leave them in the mixture. But once it's cool, you will want to refrigerate it, as they are eggs after all. So twirl them over, because you do want to keep them covered if possible. And you can go in and give them a little flip halfway through their steeping time. But once they're cool, they do have to go in the fridge. Alright, our second egg dish is going to be Scotch eggs. Now, there is a lot of debate as to where Scotch eggs originated from, and believe it or not, not a single one of those theories is from Scotland. There's a department store in London in the 18th century. There's a place in Whitby called William Scott and Sons. They claim to have called them Scotties. There's a theory that they are based on... also, there's one about some North African cuisine. Okay, we are doing 6 eggs. And these are large eggs. And we want them soft boiled. So, oops, we're going to get 6 in there, don't we? And we do want them soft boiled. So for large eggs, to hard boil them, I boil them for 10 minutes. For soft boiled, we are going to go about 4 to 5 minutes. Don't forget, they are also going to end up in a deep fryer. So they will cook a little more, not a whole lot. So we got our eggs in the pot. And we add cold water to cover. And then we're going to put them on the heat. And as soon as they start boiling, we'll set the timer for 4 minutes. Alright, once your eggs are soft boiled, and by all means, if you do not like soft boiled eggs, go ahead and hard boil them. You want to cool them in either under cold running water or in an ice bath to stop the cooking process. And then, once they're cold, just very, very carefully peel them. We'll set those aside. Then we have our sausage meat. That's 500 grams of pork sausage meat. We're going to season with some fresh chopped parsley. It's about a tablespoon. And get my spoon in there. Nope, spoon's too big. So what do you do when your spoon's too big? You use the other end. A teaspoon. If you like it hotter, go ahead and add 2 teaspoons of English mustard. And of course, salt and pepper. And we have freshly ground salt and pepper. And how much you add is up to you. It's all about your taste. And then give it a good mix. You may want to get in there with your hands. This isn't going to work well with a fork. Make sure you've washed your hands, of course. Give it a good squishing around. Get everything mixed up together. So the next step is to get your breadcrumbs ready. Just get a nice bowl. Just plain breadcrumbs. Then we want to take a ball of the sausage meat. Just in your hand, because now you want to flatten it out into an oval. And get it pretty much as thin as you can, but we're not aiming for paper thin. You want to spread it out as much as you can. Then you take one of your peeled eggs and place it in the palm of your hand and then squeeze that sausage meat around the egg. And just seal the egg in there. Make sure there's no white showing. Any little cracks, try to seal them up. There we go, and then roll them in the breadcrumbs. Now the last step, once we have our eggs all coated in sausage meat and breadcrumbs, is to deep fry them. So you're going to turn your deep fryer on and up, fairly high, but we don't want to go right to the top. I said before, the numbers on mine have worn off over the years. So I think it only goes to 375, so we're going to do it a little bit less than that. So I think it's 350. There we have our two different kinds of eggs. We have the Chinese tea eggs. Now, this is what they look like before they're peeled. The nice thing about quail eggs is they have a big air bubble in it. And when you boil them, that air bubble ends up at the fat end. So they stand up quite nicely. And then we have our Scotch eggs made with chicken eggs. And they are absolutely fabulous, packed in a lunch or for a picnic. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, consider subscribing, and I'll be back again soon with something else tasty. Thank you.